I hate everything. Why am I always muted? Hi everyone! Welcome to Bakeology 101! Why does this always happen? I'm gonna make an epic entrance. And I'm gonna have super high energy. And I'm not gonna be muted. And then I always am. It's a very Rena core. Hi everyone! Welcome to Bakeology 101! Are you ready to learn? Are you ready to learn? Are you ready for me to info dump on you profusely? Because there are 42 pages to this slideshow. Technically there's 43. But 41 of them has information that matters. I wrote a 10-page document for this stream. And then I put it into a slideshow, and I'm excited to give you guys all the information. Hi! Thank you, Susaki, for the super! Mwah, mwah, mwah. Is there gonna be a quiz? No, but I was thinking of 10 pages, and then I have 41 slides of information. Okay, but hold on. I need to info dump on you about something else really quick. Okay, so if you don't know, the Winter Olympics are happening right now. And I like the Winter Olympics more than the Summer Olympics because I like the events better. Okay. Anyways, Canada played against USA in the women's gold medal game this morning and they lost. That's sad, but who cares? Tomorrow is the semifinals for the men's team, Canada versus Finland. And honestly, I'm not shocked that the women's Canadian team lost. I'm not shocked. They didn't have the best roster ever. It is what it is, you know? I don't really care about women's hockey that much. I care about the men's Canadian team. I care. You know why? We are getting, like, the best Olympic hockey ever of all of the Olympics this year because there are the most NHL players ever taking part in the Olympics this year than ever before. Which has something to do with, like, there's a bunch of different factors, I guess. I don't know a ton about it. But at some point, NHL players were not allowed to compete in the Olympics, and then that changed. But this year, it is insane. Also, fun fact, there are more Canadians on NHL hockey teams than any other nationality. USA is a close second. It actually used to be a lot worse. Because I saw when the Olympics first started, there were a whole bunch of people being like, oh, well then why has Canada not won a Stanley Cup in 30 years? Well, all your United States teams have a lot of Canadian players. And the Toronto Maple Leafs suck, but, you know, it's whatever. But anyways, I'm just saying, hockey is one of Canada's national sports. Mesh. But yeah, I'm just saying, a lot of your teams actually have a lot of Canadian players, so I'm just saying, it's not the flex that people think it is. Anyways, I'm really excited to watch the game tomorrow morning, and I hope it'll be epic and good and amazing. I'm really hyped. And I hope that Canada wins so that I can watch the gold medal game. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I love hockey. No, the United States is a Canadian province. Anyways, I'm joking. I really don't care about all that stuff. But I like watching hockey. It's fun. It's funness. So we have a lot to get through today. There is a lot of epic information. Like, so much. There's so much information to get through. So let's start, okay? So, first of all, welcome to Bakeology 101, the course where I teach you about baked goods, their ingredients, and their origins. However, we are not covering origins in today's lesson. Like any class, we have to start with the foundationals. In this case, ingredients, the differences between types of them, and why we use them. So, for today, we will be analyzing the Toll House chocolate chip cookie recipe and the ingredients used, their applications, differences, and similarities. Wow! Will we have a scribe professor? Do we have to take notes ourselves? If you want to take notes, you gotta do it yourself. So why am I doing these streams, you may ask? You may ask me. You also may not, but I'm gonna tell you anyways. Throughout the past few months, if you've noticed, I've been releasing a bunch of like baking and food fact shorts, and I've seen that people really like them. And so in an attempt to kind of bring in that audience to my stream audience, and also give you even more information, I've decided to do this stream series. However, I will tell you, these streams are a lot of work. I've actually been like working on this stream all week. All week, it's quite a lot. Because it's a lot of work to research and get everything, you know, everything that I want to give you. YouTube, don't do this to me. Not receiving enough video to maintain smooth experience. Why though? Why? Why? Get good, YouTube. Anyways, so I'll likely try to do in between, do it like 1 or 2 times per month, depending on the time that I have. Yeah, I'm really excited. Thank you, Snail Jill. Thank you. Thank you for the giftos. Okay, I'm gonna... You heard this once, okay? I'm gonna turn it down. Because it's gonna go 10 times. But I'm gonna keep that, the alert on the screen. Thank you so much! Welcome. Oh, you sniped yourself. The Snail Jailer received the gift membership by the Snail Jailer. Hope this becomes a mainstay to the channel. It will! It will, it will. I want to do these a couple times a month. And it'll be epic. Blah, blah. I'm a chocolatier, so I'm really happy that I get to see more info stuff. You're a chocolatier! That's epic! Oh my gosh! I don't know how you do it. I took a chocolatiering course when I was doing my pastry stuff. And tempering chocolate is the bane of my existence, and I have a lot of respect for chocolatiers. I have so much respect for you guys, because oh my gosh, I hate tempering chocolate. It just never agrees with me. I think it's really cool though. That's awesome. That is super epic. I'm like the opposite help. See? See, you're super cool and epic. I can't bake. It's okay, it's okay. We'll change that. I'll explain all this stuff to you. Get all of this info. I'm a lazy hobby baker, but my dark chalky banana cake is quite popular. That sounds delicious. That sounds super yum. Okay, so going into our first slide, we are going to just kind of look through the Toll House recipe, because this is the recipe we're going to be analyzing today, and this is where all of our information is coming from, this recipe. So, recipe itself, 2 1/4 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 cup butter, softened, 3/4 cup granulated sugar, 3/4 cup packaged brown sugar, sorry, not packaged, packed, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, 2 large eggs, and 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate. And our ingredients: preheat oven to 375 degrees, dry ingredients mixed together, then creaming your butter, sugar, and vanilla, adding eggs 1 at a time, bringing in the flour, putting in the chocolate chips, and baking. We are gonna go way in depth about all of this. So let's start, shall we? First of all, flour. Before we talk about the process and why things are done the way that they are, we're going to talk about the different types of ingredients that can be used for baking. This obviously isn't going to be every single type of ingredient, but because there's so many of each. But I'm going to be going over some main ones. Hi, Emily! It's okay, it's nice to see you. So our first most common type of flour is all-purpose flour. It's very versatile. People use it for like literally everything. It's made from hard or soft wheat, or even both. And the protein content of this flour hovers around 9 to 12%. And we will talk about protein content and why it's important. If you have seen, there is 2 types of all-purpose flour. There's unbleached all-purpose flour and bleached all-purpose flour. Unbleached flour is whitened naturally with age, and it may have a denser texture. Bleached flour is treated to lighten faster. There isn't really much of a application difference between them. It's more so a personal preference. Like, my family has always purchased unbleached flour because that's just the way that my mom prefers it to be. I think I really don't know the specifics on why people would choose the different things, but my guess is that mom doesn't like that it says bleached. That's my personal guess. Can we bleach it at home? I would recommend you don't, honestly. I would recommend you don't. Whole wheat flour. Wheat kernels are broken down into 3 parts before milled: endosperm, germ, and bran. Wow. Standard white flour is made of endosperm, and whole wheat flour is made of all 3. It means that whole wheat flour is more nutrient dense and has a nuttier flavor. But because of this, because it contains all 3, it's a lot more perishable. So it's better stored in the fridge or freezer. I think a lot of people also do, just in general, store their flour in the fridge or freezer if they don't use it super often. It won't make a difference to your flour, but it can just help it keep for a longer time. It is rougher in texture. It has a couple different textures. I don't personally have any whole wheat flour, but I used to use it a lot in school. And it's very cool. It has some kind of like flatter pieces and then some very finely milled stuff too. Spelt flour! I'm not the biggest fan of spelt flour. And that's honestly just because for a long time, so my parents have always been health nuts, but at some point they kind of went on this spelt flour kick. So we would have like spelt flour replaced every other type of flour in our household. So anytime we'd have like pancakes or like literally anything that used flour, but it was pancakes fairly often, it would be spelt flour. And because I had it so often, I can't stand the taste of spelt flour anymore. But maybe one day. Our next type of flour, bread flour. Bread flour has the highest protein content of all refined flours, up to 14%. The extra proteins help hold together the structure of the bread, and it's responsible for the porous and chewy texture. Let me see if this is in my notes. No, yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the gluten content. I love bread flour. It's personally my favorite type of flour because I love making bread. Don't be more crumbly if this was used or no diff from the other stuff. Bread flour. Yeah, 9 to 12% is fairly high, but bread flour, so we'll talk about it more, but the protein content is very important because the gluten in the bread develops because of the protein content, right? The more that you mix a dough, the more the gluten develops. So, things that have higher protein content, or flours that have higher protein content, will be used for making things that need more structure, whereas flours that have way less protein content will be used for making things that don't need that same kind of structure. Cake flour has the lowest protein content. It is milled to a very fine texture, and it has less and then baked goods that are made with it will have less gluten structure and be tender and moister baked goods. Yummy. Hi, Darner! We're learning today. Strap in. Another favorite of mine, pastry flour. Pastry flour is more of a middle ground between cake and all-purpose, as it has a protein, I don't know why it says structure, it's supposed to say content, of 8 to 9%. It's a good balance between flakiness and tenderness while also maintaining structure. Now, protein content. Why does it matter? It really matters. It really, really matters. It's very important. So cake flour generally has the lowest protein content, and bread flour being the highest. Higher protein content creates stronger, chewier structure, while low protein content produces softer, more delicate structures. So the type of flour that you use does really matter. Hi, Raiders! Welcome in! Welcome in. Star Shower! Hello, Star Brights! Hi, Serena! Hello! Welcome in. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I probably will ask you guys some questions later on, if you feel like answering them. That'll pertain to information I've told you already. Please teach me what flour does to a recipe. Flour contains the gluten. It gives you the structure, the goodness, you know? Low protein, crumbly, high protein, spongy. Not necessarily. I mean, it also depends on the other things, but high protein is just more structure. Low protein is less structure. There's actually, when you're making bread, gluten is not dangerous. It depends. I mean, if you're allergic to gluten, it's probably dangerous to you, but I've never heard of gluten being all that dangerous. So gluten in bread making is one of the most important things when you're making bread, is making sure that you're kneading the dough enough so that the gluten develops. And there's something called a window pane test when we make bread. We'll take a little bit of dough and we'll kind of stretch it out until it's very thin and see-through. And if we can't get it to that point, then we'll probably know that we haven't kneaded it enough and it needs more time for the gluten to develop. Our next ingredients, there are more types of flour, by the way, but these are the only ones we're covering today. Our next ingredient that we're going to talk about is baking powder and baking soda. They're both leavening agents, and they cause dough to expand by releasing gas. They're common in cookies, cakes, and quick bread recipes, and give a light and fluffy, porous structure. So they are a little different, though. They cannot be substituted one-to-one because they react differently in recipes. They both create the same thing. They both create carbon dioxide bubbles, but they do it differently. Baking soda. It is pure sodium bicarbonate. Sometimes recipes will call for sodium bicarbonate. They're talking about baking soda. It is a quick-acting leavening agent. As soon as it's blended with moisture and an acidic ingredient, it causes a chemical reaction to occur that produces bubbles and carbon dioxide. Wow. Use the autolysis techniques I've heard about where the bread kneads itself. I honestly don't know much about autolysis. I had to do it in school, but I never really understood it because it would be like, allow the bread to autolyse, and we'd put like a thing over it, and then we'd just kind of leave it. I think it's, to me, I'm probably wrong, but to me, it's the same thing as resting the bread. It just feels like resting the bread. I don't know much about autolysis specifically, but hi! I'm sorry, I haven't really said individual highs this stream. What kind of acid is usually added, like lemon juice, or is it recipe dependent? It's recipe dependent. Very recipe dependent. What. Because it reacts so fast, baking soda, it's a quick-acting leavening agent, right? So because it reacts so fast when you use recipes with baking soda, that's why they'll be like, get it into the oven quickly, you know? Baking powder is very interesting. It's a blended mixture containing baking soda, acidic salts or dry acids, and often a starch like cornstarch. It typically contains tartaric acid, which is cream of tartar. That is the acid, right? So you are adding in the baking soda, and then at the same time, you're also adding in the acid that will make it react. Very interesting. But since they're both powders, they won't just react right away. Yeah, it has the acid already. Cream of tartar is a dry acid, so when using baking powder, you're adding the acidic ingredient that will produce the said bubbles at the same time. And it's typically used in recipes that don't have any other acidic ingredient. But there are two types of baking powder. There is single action, so it creates carbon dioxide bubbles when it comes in contact with moisture, similar to baking soda. I don't know much about that one. I can't say I've ever used it. Double action, which is the most commonly used, has two leavening periods. First surge of air bubbles happen when alkaline baking soda and acidic cream of tartar are combined with recipes that have milk or water. So, like if you mix it in and then you add in your milk or your water, that reaction will start taking place. And then it'll also start leavening in the oven when it reaches a certain temperature. So 2 leavening periods. Wow. Hi. Okay. We're talking about salt. There are different types of salt. So, when the recipe just says salt, it's very most commonly referring to table salt. This is a standard grain salt And it's finely processed and has a texture and consistency of granulated sugar. So I see people mess it up all the time. And that's totally understandable. I don't think I have yet, but it'll happen eventually, I'm sure. Hi, Bean. Hi, Bean. I'm gonna throw a shield at you. Catch! Huck's shield at your head. Kosher salt. It is larger, coarser crystals than table salt, and it was originally designed for salting meat. Most kosher salt is non-iodized, so it doesn't have a chemical taste, and it makes it have more of a neutral flavor, so it's pretty ideal for recipes. So sometimes you'll see recipes specifically call for kosher salt. However, you can put in table salt instead. Just know that because of the volume difference, it's not really a one-to-one, what's the word? It's not really a one-to-one substitution, that's the word. Because salt has more... Actually, I have it somewhere in here. I think it's near the very bottom. Hold on, I'll tell you. We'll say it again, but I'll tell you. Okay, so due to its density, 1 teaspoon of salt contains roughly double the sodium of kosher salt. So it's not really a one-to-one substitution. You may be wondering, since we're on the topic of kosher salt, what makes kosher salt kosher? So they're made of large salt grains, and it's good at absorbing liquid and easy to wash off afterwards. It is, quote-unquote, good for making meat kosher. So the salt itself, it's not that the salt itself is kosher. That's not where its name comes from. At least from what I saw. This is something I just learned about the other day. Kosher meat can be covered in salt to absorb the blood from the meat, since blood is not kosher. It also won't leave the meat insanely salty afterwards. You would use kosher salt instead of regular salt because table salt is smaller granule-wise. Sorry, so it can't absorb as much liquid and it will leave a residue. Kosher salt can absorb a lot more liquid and it won't leave a residue when it's wiped off. I don't know why I can't talk. It won't leave the meat overly salty. Very interesting. I didn't know this. And I think it's very cool. Changing the crystalline structure of the salt changed the flavor? That I do not know. I do not know. Can confirm kosher salt is used for koshering meat, which is why it's called that. Thank you, Amy. Our next salts. Sea salt. This is referring to any salt harvested from water, and it can differ in size, colors, and shapes. Flaky sea salt, it's just sea salt but flaky. You probably shouldn't use it for baking in recipes. They don't disperse or dissolve evenly, so you'll end up with like crunchy salt pockets. If that's your thing, that's totally fine, but it's not really recommended. It's more used for just like sprinkling on top of a dish to finish it. I'm a big salt fan. I love salt. I think it's yummy and delicious. Delicious. Okay. Our next section is on butter! There are a lot of different types of butter, but we are only going to be talking about 2 today. Salted and unsalted butter because they are the most common in baking. Unsalted butter is made solely from pasteurized cream from cows, and it tends to have a shorter shelf life. A lot of recipes call for it, and it's actually like the recommended butter when you are making your own recipes. Or at least I see people recommend it. Salted butter has about 1/4 teaspoon salt added for every 4 ounces of butter. Since the salt enhances flavor, it's really good for cooking. But also, salt is a natural preservative, so if you're wondering why unsalted butter has a shorter shelf life, it has no salt. Salted butter, as it has salt, is a natural preservative, so it helps inhibit the growth of bacteria that would cause it to spoil. They both have their uses and they're both fine, but generally in baking, you'll see the use of unsalted over salted because baking tends to be a lot more precise than cooking, meaning that the measurements really matter, and unsalted butter allows you to control the salt in the recipe. Sorry, we're actually talking about 3 kinds. We're also talking about margarine. I forgot. spreadable butter, and it's a very popular alternative. It's made from vegetable oils like soybean, canola, or sunflower. So the oil undergoes hydrogenation, which changes them to a solid at room temperature. Margarine has a longer shelf life, and in commercial settings at least, it costs less than butter. I think even now, like, for the general day-to-day person, it costs less than butter because butter's very, very expensive right now. And you generally can... I don't fully agree with this, but you generally can one-to-one replace it, but it depends on the recipe. For example, if I've run out of butter to make chocolate chip cookies, I will use margarine instead. But because of that, I will typically add more flour because I find that margarine over butter tends to make the recipe spread out like so much more as it bakes. And I want it to have a little bit more structure, so then I'll add just a little bit more flour. Margarine is oil. Basically, it's oil. Just a whole lot of oil. Just a bunch of oil. I mean, it's tasty though. It's tasty. I remember my little brother used to just want to eat margarine. Be like, okay, you're weird, but whatever. Margarine, the plant milk equivalent of butter. Yeah, I think all margarine is plant-based, ? I could be wrong. But generally, it's plant-based. I don't know if I've ever seen non-plant-based margarine, but maybe it exists. Next thing we're going to talk about is sugar. Sugar! We have a couple different types of sugar we're going to talk about. Granulated sugar is naturally white. Is margarine healthy for the body comparatively to butter? No. I honestly wouldn't say that either one is more healthy for you. They're both not great for you, you know? But, as all things, everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. You're allowed to have things that aren't good for your body. There are so many things that are not good for your body. I feel like most things that are sold are not good for your body. But if you have it in moderation, you know, that's it's a little better. I guess just don't eat a whole stick of butter on your piece of toast. I don't know. I mean, I can't stop you if you really want to. So granulated sugar, it's naturally white, and it's the most common form of refined sugar, and is generally used in everyday households. Coarse sugar is granulated sugar, but with a larger crystal size. It's highly resistant to color change and breakdown at high temperatures. It doesn't have the same kind of melting point. It's used in fondants, confections, and liquors. The only thing that's good for your body in any amount is doses of cute anime girls. I agree. Superfine sugars is our next one. Not the same as icing sugar. It's not the same. I actually didn't know about this until earlier today. So it is the finest grain of all of the sugars. It is good for sprinkling over fruits or cereals, and it is used commercially in powdered preparations of preserving fruits and dissolves easily in cold beverages. I don't personally... So it's the most attractive sugar. Yeah, it's the finest one. I don't think I've ever seen superfine sugar at my local grocery store. I honestly thought it was just icing sugar until today. But icing sugar is finely ground granulated sugar. It contains approximately 3% of cornstarch to prevent clumping, and it is used for glazes or sprinkling over desserts. Blah, 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 blah. The funnest sugar of all. Brown sugar. White granulated sugar is blended with small amounts of molasses. It ranges from light to dark brown, and the differences in color are dependent on the amount of molasses used. So the more molasses there is, the stickier it is, the darker in color it is, and the stronger the flavor is. Yummy, yummy, yummy! Now we are going to talk about vanilla extract. Mesh, 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 mesh. Ba, ba, ba. So vanilla extract is made from seeds of a tropical orchid called vanilla planifolia. I know how to say words. They're native to Central America, but they can grow anywhere in the world with moderate temps, so the temperature is very important. For example, Madagascar! We are talking about general vanilla first, and then we'll talk about real versus artificial. It's very labor-intensive, taking 3 years for a plant to reach maturity, and farmers must hand-pollinate every flower before it opens. I think that's pretty crazy. I didn't know that before today. Obtained by soaking vanilla beans in neutral alcohol solution. Alcohol extracts the flower and aroma of the beans, and then the liquid is then reduced to a minimum alcohol content, then diluted with cane sugar syrups. Available in different concentrations, and it's dependent on the number of vanilla beans per liter of extract. Yeah, it makes sense why it's so expensive. It makes so much sense. Like, so much sense. So now let's talk about some different types of vanilla. Vanilla flavoring. It is made with the required amounts of vanilla extract, but it does not have any alcohol in the process, so it's not a true extract. I know how to say these words. Propylene glycol is the most common carrier for the flavor. I did not do much research into propylene glycol. Maybe another time. Natural vanilla extracts, vanilla beans, water, and alcohol. That's what they're made up of. And they offer a complex, deep flavor profile. And they're also stupid expensive, but it makes sense. Imitation artificial vanilla. It is made from synthetic vanillin. Vanillin is a compound in vanilla beans that gives their distinct flavor. Less than about 0.3% of vanillin used to flavor foods comes naturally from the beans because it's very labor-intensive, time-consuming, and costly. Originally, it was lab-produced from eugenol, aromatic liquid found in several essences, several essential oils like clove, nutmeg, and spice. But today, the majority of commercial vanillin is synthesized from a word that I could totally say. Guaiacol. Natural compound, and that is found in wood smoke and clove oil. Ooh! Some of it is made from lignin, ligma, natural substance found in wood and bark. Very cool! I did not know about this. And I think it's very cool. And hopefully you'll find it cool. Like my boss. Hopefully you'll find it cool. Okay, eggs. There are 2 main types. There are a bunch of types, but the main types that you'll usually find in a house are white eggs from white hens and brown eggs from brown hens. That's basically all I have on them. But they're really not different. The color difference on the outside of the egg literally does not matter. They are the same on the inside, and they both taste great as scrambled eggs. I'm a big fan. I love eggs. Yeah, our shells may be different, but we are all egg. We are all egg. Next, we're gonna talk about chocolate. Chicken color defines the egg color. Yeah, did you not know that? Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? It's not the same as the joke of chocolate milk comes from brown cows. So the types of chocolate. There are many types, but for the sake of not rambling on about chocolate for 10 years, we'll be talking about the most common, but there are a lot more. There's milk chocolate, which is sweeter but less chocolatey. And it only has to contain the minimum 10% cocoa. It only has to be made up of 10% cocoa. That's not very much chocolate. However, I am a big milk chocolate fan. I think it's delicioso. Dark chocolate is any variety of chocolate that contains 30 to 80% of cocoa. The more cocoa, the less sweet and the more bitter/dark it is. And it doesn't contain any milk solids. Big chocolate is scamming the people. But milk chocolate is so tasty. Hi! Our next types of chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate. Semi-sweet chocolate was developed for baking. It is made up of at least 30% cocoa, so it actually is recognized as a dark chocolate, but I don't think most people think of it that way. And it is generally the default for grocery store chocolate chips. Chocolate milk comes from brown cows. Milk chocolate comes from cow browns. Real. What's the other 20% of the chocolate bar? Other ingredients. Couldn't tell you. I haven't looked that far into it. We can go in depth on chocolate more another day though. I think that would be fun. I am a big fan of chocolate. I may not be able to temper it, but I think it's really delicious. White chocolate. The sin of the chocolate world. The most gross kind of chocolate. It is made from cocoa butter extracted during cocoa bean refinement, and it doesn't contain any chocolate liquor, just so you know. And it's gross. That's all I'm saying. It's kind of gross. It's fake. It's not real chocolate. It doesn't contain what is needed to be real chocolate, and it sucks. Yeah, cocoa buttermilk, exactly. Exactly. It's not real chocolate. It sucks. It's goated. Yeah, well, it's not chocolate. It's poop. It's not poop. I'm sorry. You're allowed to like white chocolate. You're allowed to like it, but it is fake chocolate. I'm gonna have to Oshi. I'm sorry. I'm a white chocolate hater. I really am. I think it's mediocre at best. Sometimes I like it, like in things, but I would never want to, like, eat it. You know, like plain. I think it's nasty. Nasty. What is chocolate liquor? Chocolate liquor is the unsweetened liquid or paste that is produced when you're like grinding fermented cocoa beans, roasted fermented cocoa beans. And it has roughly like equal parts cocoa solids and cocoa butter. Blah, blah, blah. And even though it's called chocolate liquor, it doesn't have alcohol. Fun fact. Isn't that dumb? It doesn't contain alcohol. I think that's stupid, but it doesn't contain alcohol. Very cool. But yeah, very cool, very cool. Okay, so we've gone over all the ingredients. So now we're gonna take... This is our recipe again. And we're gonna kind of go step by step through the recipe so that I can tell you kind of about the process. You know? Dogs are allergic to chocolate. Yeah, is that the specific thing that they're allergic to? Because I'm honestly not sure. Chocolate liquor contains alcohol. Yeah. If you're having liquor. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the process of making chocolate chip cookies. As we go through this section of the lesson, I might ask you some questions about things that we've already talked about. But of course, there's no pressure to answer, and if you don't know, that's okay. Keyword might, if I remember to. Their digestion system can't process chocolate. Ah, that makes sense. Isn't it the caffeine in chocolate? Is there caffeine in chocolate? Oh, that sounds delicious. I want caffeine chocolate. Okay, so the process. This part's fun. Okay, so the first steps of the recipe. Mix the dry ingredients. This ensures the leavening agents and salt are evenly distributed through the flour. So this leaves it so that you can leave no pockets. It also prevents overmixing and excessive gluten development. So the ingredients for this recipe, we would typically use all-purpose flour. This is because, as we discussed, the protein content of all-purpose flour is 9 to 11%. And this allows for the ideal balance of structure and tenderness. It's enough gluten to help hold the cookie together, but it's not enough to make it, like, too tough, you know? Just enough gluten. We wouldn't use bread flour. That wouldn't be good. We're also using baking soda in this recipe. As we discussed earlier, baking soda reacts with acidic ingredients to produce carbon dioxide. Fun fact! Brown sugar is acidic. It contains a pH range between 5.0 and 6.7 due to the molasses. This mild acidity means that we don't need a leavening agent that has an added acid like baking powder. So we can use the baking soda because brown sugar is acidic. This reaction raises the pH level and slows protein setting, and it allows the cookies to spread before they firm up. Wow! Very cool. Very cool. The salt. We would be using basic table salt because baking salt is so fine. It dissolves quickly and evenly. And as well, I've said this a little earlier, the density of 1 teaspoon of salt contains roughly double the sodium of kosher salt, which means it's very good for small and precise measurements, and it's generally cheaper and easier to get your hands on. I can get these slides after class. I have a special case that allows me to get them since I can't keep up during class. I can probably give you guys I might be able to do a PDF version. I think I can download it as a PDF. Moving on to our next step is blending the sugar, butter, and vanilla extract together. So, first we're going to talk about our ingredients. Why does the sugars we use matter? We use granulated and brown sugar for this recipe. This balances the cookie texture and the flavor. In general, white sugar promotes a crisp, light texture and encourages spreading. Brown sugar contains molasses, so we get that acidic bit, and it also leads to softer, chewier, and a thicker cookie. And it can also give a bit of a deep caramel flavor. I love brown sugar. It's very tasty. This is the most... this is one of the most important parts of the baking process. Creaming! This ensures a light and fluffy and tender texture in cakes and cookies, and it prevents dense crumbs and evenly disperses the sugar. Do not skip. Do not... No, seriously though, don't skip. Don't skip creaming, okay? It's really important. It's really, really important. When you first start mixing together your butters and sugars, it's like very dense and wet and stuff, kind of like sand, like wet sand. But eventually as you cream it together, it will begin to soften and grow more fluffy. The mechanical action of mixing also forces the sugar to dissolve into fat, preventing a gritty texture in the final product. Vanilla is also generally added during this step so its flavor can be evenly distributed throughout the fat, and so you don't add it later and overmix. There's more about creaming. As well as the ingredients mix, the sugar cuts into the butter, creating small air pockets. This will be important when we add the eggs. It also makes it easier for ingredients to be added later, like eggs and flour. I apparently added, but I think I could have taken that out. Anyways, yeah, vanilla extract does not taste very good on its own. Continuing. Did I not make a slide for this? Okay, that's fine. So, I have told you, but you might not think that it's important. But I'll tell you why. A while ago, for Christmas, my sibling and I made cookies for the family, and not knowing the general process, he had added everything at once. I was like, put the ingredients in the bowl in the order that it's listed. Which, if you didn't know, recipes when they're written will usually put the ingredients in the order that they are added to the recipe. And so, just dumped everything in. And because of this, the overall structure of the cookie was very messed up. So the lack of the creaming process, they spread like crazy and they leaked grease because there was no proper foundation established for the cookie. It also meant that they fell apart really easily and were really flat. They kind of sucked, low-key. There's an order and it matters. It matters a lot. Baking is a science. Cookie speedrun any percent. No, literally though. It's just like, okay, they're in. Remember you like put them all in, you went, is this fine? And I looked at it and I was like, man, these cookies are gonna be a little, not great, let me tell you. Moving on to the eggs. It's like how putting instant coffee into hot water is bad, but putting hot water into instant coffee is good. Yeah, it actually is really interesting, right? It's very cool. I don't drink instant coffee, so my only applicators thing that's applicable to me is hot chocolate mix. But I'll usually put like a little bit of hot water in it first and then mix it all together so I can get rid of all the clumps, and then I'll add it even more and I'll find it better. But yeah, if you just put it into the hot water, it can get really clumpy and it's like really not delicious. So the eggs. Add eggs one at a time and beat well after each addition. Adding the eggs after the creaming of the butter and sugar is important to create a stable emulsion, allowing the fat in the butter and the eggs and the water in the eggs to bind together. This also prevents the cookie from becoming super greasy. They stabilize the air bubbles created by the sugar cutting into the butter, providing the necessary structure that'll later be used by the leavening agent. But why do we add them one at a time? Of course you don't have to, but adding them one at a time allows them to incorporate properly and lead to a smoother and shinier dough or batter. Some extra notes for you, which I don't think I made a slide on. Oh, I did. Some recipes call specifically for room temperature eggs. This is because cold eggs can cause the butter to solidify and the batter to separate. No! Very not fun. They also usually call for scraping the bowl in between additions. This allows things to incorporate properly. We like to use lard to replace our butter sometimes. People also use shortening too. I don't know if this is true, but I tend to use butter as a one-to-one replacement for shortening. That's just me though. Gradually beating the flour is our next step. This is a common technique to ensure good texture and consistency. Adding all the flour at once makes the dough harder to mix, which may lead to overmixing. Overmixing bad! It also allows you to control consistency. Did you know that your environment can affect the outcome of your baked goods? This is more prevalent in my experience, specifically with bread. But if you're in a more humid and hot environment, you may need a bit more flour. But if you're in a drier space, you might need less. Because again, more prevalent in bread, but the moisture content is like a very big thing. The percentage, the temperature of the water, all that stuff. I can do a thing specifically on bread because I do love bread. But yeah, there's also, I don't have a slide on this and I can't tell you everything about it, but a lot of recipes will have high altitude baking versions, which I think is really interesting. Okay, stirring in the chocolate chips. We add them last for a few reasons. It prevents them from being crushed by mixing them too long. And also so we can get pockets of chocolate rather than just flavoring the dough. Plus, again, it can lead to overmixing. And we don't want to overmix. And fun tidbit for you, if you coat them in flour, this can sometimes, this can help prevent them from sinking to the bottom of the dough. Wow! The coolest part of the process is the best kept for last. Baking! As the cookie bakes, it undergoes physical and chemical changes. The butter melts and causes spread. The heat also activates the leavening agents to allow the dough to rise and the proteins or egg proteins and starches to set and define the structure of the cookie. Wow. While this is all happening, caramelization, the process of sugar cooking, and the Maillard reaction browns the edges. But we can go a little more in depth. At around 35 Celsius and 90 Fahrenheit, the butter melts. This loosens the dough structure so it can flatten and spread. As the heat increases, the water in the dough turns to steam, and leavening agents release gases, causing the cookie to puff. Above 60 Celsius, 140 Fahrenheit, egg proteins denature, and the gluten sets the cookie to its final shape. And then the Maillard reaction! This is a reaction between amino acids and reducing sugars to create melanoidins. The compound that gives brown foods its distinctive flavor. Then, once removed from the oven, the structure will begin to firm up as the fat solidifies and the sugar crystallizes, bringing the cookie to its final texture. Ja-ja! That was a lot of information, huh? How do we feel about that? I forgot to ask you questions. How do we feel about all of that information? Does the ingredient working temperature affect the product? It depends on the recipe. If you're talking about, like what temperature the cookies are before you put them in the oven. If some of it is, if the dough is colder, it will not spread as much. So a lot of recipes like sugar cookies will call for you to fully chill the cookies before you bake them so that they keep their shape. Yeah, I just think it's cool. There's a lot of fun stuff about baking. And I mean, there's a lot of things that you also don't need to know to bake, you know? But it's just very cool to know. There's just so many cool things. Just super good. I remember most of this from my culinary arts classes in high school. I did not know the last chocolate chip tech though. Now I'm going to be doing that. I've never tried it, but I've heard that it helps. So I've heard that it helps specifically in muffins. I don't know for chocolate chip cookies, but I've seen people do it for muffins. A lot of info to take in all at once, but if you focus on the sugar and creaming parts, then you'll be good. Exactly. You shouldn't be afraid to make chocolate chip cookies, but just remembering to make sure that you really cream your butter. That's really important, creaming your butter and sugar together. Because if you don't, it's kind of gonna clump a lot and it's not gonna work super well. Here you go. I'll make you guys a PDF if you want it. But there's definitely some spelling mistakes. Afraid to make chocolate chip cookies because then I'll eat them all and that's not very healthy. But they're so yummy. They're so yummy and delicious. Thank you, Erica. Thank you for the super sticker. Sorry, guys, I'm a fast talker. I need to talk slower. I end up getting through all of this so fast. But that's my entire slideshow. I guess I'm gonna have to make my next one longer. That's okay, though. This was 10 pages of information. That's crazy. That's crazy. Used to be very, very into food YouTube, so I knew some of this, but it's been so long, and I love Yui presenting this. I'm glad. I just honestly, I was gonna add more. I was gonna add the origins, but I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I can't write in this doc anymore. I've been in the quiche deep dive. Oh, quiches are good. I love quiches. I love quiches so much. I love them. They're so yummy. I love quiches. I wish I had cookies to taste test. I love cookies. Cookies are so yummy. Cookies. Quiche Lorraine. Oh, quiche Lorraine's good. I think I remember making one in school. Make a cheesecake. Cheesecakes are really easy. I mean, there's a bunch of different types. But if you're making like a whipped no-bake cheesecake, those are super, super easy. And I think they're pretty good. I say I think because I don't like cheesecake. I don't like it at all. I think it's kind of gross, to be honest. But that's just me. That's just me. You can like cheesecake. I like my cream cheese savory, not sweet, you know? No, I'm wearing clothes. I'm wearing clothes. I'm wearing clothes! See? I'm clothed. I'm not gonna show up to class naked. Where do you think I am? You think I'm not gonna show up to class naked? Come on, guys. I'm not that kind of... I'm not like that. Honestly, who do you take me for? Blah, blah, blah. She's in the Valentine's mood still. Yeah, just wanted to wear nothing but an apron, I suppose. I think the school would fire me. They'd be like, get out. Get out, never come back. And then I'd also be blacklisted from everywhere. I think I'd be totally blacklisted and cut off, and then I'd never be able to have a career again. And it would really suck. It's a good thing I'm not a teacher. I don't think I could do it. Get on the sex offender registry. I don't think I'd be able to do it. I hear so many horror stories from teachers, and I'm like, Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. I don't think I could do it. But guys, I have more exciting things for you this week. Let's go over here so I can tell you about them. Ta-da! Hello. It's Schedule Yui here to tell you about the schedule. So tomorrow we're doing a Macross watch along on Serena's channel, and then we're also doing Creature Kitchen on Friday night. The time is very tentative. It depends on what time the Macross watch along ends. So if the Macross watch along ends a little bit later, then I will start Creature Kitchen later. It's all dependent, but I will be streaming no matter what Friday night. I'm really excited to spend some time with you guys, and to play game. And then on Saturday night we're doing bedtime story ASMR. Wow! We're gonna keep reading Treasure Island. I will remind you, if you're not caught up, you don't have to be. You can just enjoy the talking. But I did a pre-recorded ASMR of reading some of Treasure Island that you might want to listen to before then. But of course you don't have to. Sunday I might be streaming. I'm really not sure yet what exactly I'm doing. I really don't know. It just kind of depends on time because my family has stuff they want to do this weekend. It's almost my birthday, and we can't do stuff next weekend, so they want to do some stuff this weekend instead. Is there ear licking? Toka probably. No. There's not gonna be. You can dream though, I suppose. Toka can dream. Sup, first time on stream? Hi! We just finished. Here, we'll go back over here. Ta-da! We just finished talking about going through our Bakeology lesson. Bakeology! I feel like I'm gonna start my second Bakeology lesson and just keep adding a little bit to it every day. Because it makes me feel like I'm in school, sitting down and writing all this stuff out. I ended up taking a nap. That's why the stream was pushed back. I was really tired. And I had written like a good... Well, as I said, I've been working on this all week. And then I wrote a good portion of it this morning. And then I went, I'm really tired. I'm going to take a 20-minute nap. And it did not end up being 20 minutes because I slept for 2 hours. And then that's why I pushed it back, because I still had to finish. And I had to set up my stream and everything. So I was like, I'll push it back and finish my document and make my slideshow. Ooh. Sometimes you just need that epic nap. It just hits a little too hard. Did you like my starting soon screen, by the way? Here's my Yui I made. Look, it's me. It's Bakeology Yui. She burnt down the kitchen. I love my starting soon screen so much. I love it so much. I just think it's really stupid, and I really like it, and I had a lot of fun making it. Look at her. She's like, She just, she likes burning down the kitchen. What can you do? Sometimes you just gotta burn down the kitchen. Yeah, I really like this face. This was my favorite one to do. She's just there. Yeah, it isn't no one's gonna believe you. I know, I love it so much. I'm such a big fan of the starting soon screen. I wasn't sure like if I'd actually like it a lot, and then I was like, wait, this is kind of gas. Is that what they say? Thank you, Kira. Mwah, 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 mwah. Thank you. Is that like baby Yui but in a coat? No, it's regular Yui. That's me. That's Yui. This is Yui. Yui. This is Yui. Yeah, this shit gas. Can I have one? I don't know, can you? Can you have one? Baby Yui's not being replaced. She's fine. Baby Yui's fine. Hold on. Here, if you really want, I'll bring out Baby Yui. Can't promise it won't kill my stream. Let me find her. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. That's not what I meant to bring her out in addition to me. Oh, hold on. In but a moment. Hold on a momento, por favor. Let me grab her. There she is. Here we go. Here's Baby Yui. She's here. Hi, Baby Yui! You guys happy? She exists. I'll have Yui in some form one day. You too could have your own Usachi Yui when Usachi Yui's birthday merch comes out next week. You too could own an Usachi Yui. Isn't that crazy? Oh my gosh, look, I could put all three of us next to each other. Hold on. Yuiception. Look at all of us. I'm multiplying! I'm multiplying! No, it's not a plushie. But you'll see me Yui merch. Yui merch! Yui merch! I know, guys, she's multiplying. She's multiplying. She's multiplying! Maybe one day we'll get a plush. That would be really cool. You guys will have to wait and see what it is. I know it's osmosis. Osmosis. Mitosis. Mitosis. RDJ is here. He's right here. I was putting lab coat Yui in the corner instead of RDJ. I know there's 3 of them. Can you handle 3 Yuis? Like, do you think 3 of me would be really annoying? Do you think 3 of me would just be like really annoying, or would you like 3 Yuis? I feel like 3 of me would be annoying. I feel like 1 of me is enough. You know? I think 1 of me is enough. It's just too powerful. Learned more from you than school. 3 is better. 3 Yuis. 30 Yuis would be like bonkers. So sorry, my computer's kind of lagging a little bit. My computer hates when I have like more than 2 things open. I don't know why it's like this. Why are you angry this time? Mogpocalypse. Mog on them. I don't think it's annoying. Now distracting, that's a yes. 3 Yuis. I stare. It's like cats, 2 is better than 1, 3 is better than 2. Oh, this is true. If I could multiply, there would be millions of Yuis. The world would be overrun by Yuis. I'd take over the world with my clones. I'm happy with 1 Yui. You don't want 15 Yuis? What? Why? What would a conversation between 3 Yuis be like? This is my guess. La burper. Oh my gosh! Something along those lines. It would just be like all my impressions. Something really stupid. You get a Labubu, a Jennifer Coolidge, and a feral cat. I like when people ask me to meow because they'll be like, Yui, can you meow? And they expect a cute meow, but then I go, and they go, stop! Like, you asked for it. You, woof. Bark, bark, awooga. Woof. Woof, woof. Bark, banger. Banger, I hardly know her. Woof woof, bark. Bark bark. Awooga. Well, the alley cat. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Alley cat. Meow meow. There's so many Yuis on screen. I feel like we could have more Yuis on screen. Hold on. Let me bring out a fourth Yui real quick. Yeah, let me bring out a fourth Yui real quick. Hold on. Whoa, this image is so massive. It's freaking huge. A fourth Yui! Look how many there are. There's 4 of us now. I just keep multiplying. She can't be stopped. She can't be stopped. Bring out Sea Bunny Yui as well. Oh! I don't think I have it as an item. I'd have to make it an item. And I think my computer might die. But I don't think I made Sea Bunny Yui a live 2D item. You don't think I did. I did not. No Sea Bunny Yui. Mitosis! Read the copy paste I sent in your chat. It depends on what it says. It's very dependent. It's very dependent. Hold on. Let me... Blep. Ignore this image. It's this image from the background music. Let me put it over here. Okay, the 4 horsemen, yeah! I could multiply to 7 and we could be the ring wraiths. Is there 7 ring wraiths? I actually don't. Oh my gosh. I respect the, that you asked, but I'm okay actually. Thank you though. Great suggestion. That's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them. Anyways, 5th Yui? 5th Yui? Hold on. 5th Yui? 5th Yui? Hold on. 5th Yui? Another one? Another one? I don't trust your guys' creepypastas. I don't trust them at all. Whoa, this one's even bigger. These files are so massive, it's crazy. Oh my gosh, why are you so massive? Holy crapola. It's like the biggest file ever. There we go, I'm done resizing. 5 Yuis? Guys, she's multiplying! Mitosis! I love this Yui. Lemmy drew it. Lemmy drew this Yui. Isn't she cute? There's so many Yuis. 5 whole Yuis? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What if 6 Yuis? 6 Yuis? Hold on. 6 Yuis? 6 whole Yuis? 6 Yuis? I need it to be a chibi. Hold on. I need to make it a chibi so it fits the vibe. Six Yuis? 7 Yuis? Roku Nana. Hold on, we need 7 Yuis? 7 Yuis? Do I have another chibi? 7 Yuis? Oh my gosh. We truly are reaching critical mass. Yes, we are. 7 Yuis? Roku Nana Yuis? Do I hear 8? It's like we're bidding. Gonna get a 1, gonna get a 2. 8 Yuis, 8 Yuis! Guys, 8 Yuis? Yuis? Hold on. 8 Yuis? 8 Yuis? Oh my gosh, 8? Guys, the world's gonna explode. No one can handle 8 Yuis. It's too many Yuis. It's too many Yuis, I'm gonna go to bed. Send idol outfit? Yeah, this is for Awaken the Power. 8 Yuis? Guys, what if 9 Yuis? 9 Yuis? Do I have another Yui chibi? 9 Yuis? This one was also drawn by Lemmy. 9 Yuis? 9 Yuis? Oh my gosh, guys, that's so many Yuis. Get a 10th Yui? Guys, there's too many! There's too many Yuis! There's too many Yuis! There's so many! 55th Yui? No, I think my PC would crash. It's 9 Yuis? Yeah, okay, we can add a 10th Yui. Hold on. We need 10 Yuis. 10 whole Yuis. What should I add for my 10th Yui? This little Yui, look how cute she is. 10th Yui! There's 10 Yuis now! Wow! Look at all of them! So many Yuis. Lemmy is so talented. I love Lemmy's drawings. Oh, I'll give you the scab for who did this one. Hold on. I will give you the scab. Hold on. Here's the artist. This one was done by Perry. This is from Awaken the Powder. I can't remember the artist's name. Please forgive me. This is Lemmy's. It's Lemmy. This is from Anniversary. This is me. This is the artist I just sent. And this is from Debut. I could probably find the artist. I think I could look for it. Thank you, Finale! $1 for each Yui. Don't spend it all in one place. Thank you! Thank you, thank you. Thank you for the super. Mwah, mwah! See an 11th peeking from the corner. Are you talking about this guy? Talking about RDJ? Look at him. He's just looking. He's just looking. I'll release his birthday merch, right? Could you imagine? That would be crazy. That would be insane. That would be so insane. I don't have the Summer Yui PNG on my computer, actually. The Summer Yui chibi. Me no have. So I'm just gonna take that off. Just in case. I know it's so sad. Can we get Pitbull here too? No. This is not Armando Christian Perez's time. Oh my gosh, Terwin, I love this so much. This is my favorite thing in the world. Oh, I am such a big fan of this. I'm such a big fan of this. I'm such a big fan. I am such a big fan of this. Oh my god, I love it so much. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. Truly, nothing can save you now. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. Thank you so much. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. I love it. I think someone did send it in the... Yeah, Taro sent it in the Discord. Nothing can save you now. Oompa Loompas, bruh. Guys, I should make it my ending screen. Nothing can save you now. Sure, I'm withered, Yui. Mom, da-da-da. 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 I just love it so much. I think it's so cute. I love it so much. I love it so much. Oh, it's making me so happy. The heck? Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Oh, just suffocating under the weight of 1,000 Yuis. I was thinking of making a stinger, honestly, for this, and then I didn't. But I was thinking about it. I was like, that would be kind of fun. Maybe I will for the next one. It'll just be a bunch of this one. Oh, not that. Just be a bunch of this Yui just like popping up all over the screen, and then they'll all fall. Or I could burn them all. That might be a little too violent, actually. Just a little too violent. I can't believe tomorrow is Friday. I keep feeling like tomorrow's Saturday. Live-oo. The ending screen, Yui falling, and then another Yui, and then a third one we just buried in a pile of Yuis. All of the Yuis! Wouldn't you like to be buried in a pile of Yuis? I know that Toka would like to be all of the Yuis. All of them. Yeah, you would? Mm-hmm. All of the Yuis. Yuis. We're probably gonna raid, methinks. I'm gonna try to get an early bedtime tonight so that I can sleep. I've been so, like, extra tired for some reason recently. And I don't really know why, because I feel like I've been sleeping on time and, like, getting up at a reasonable hour. Like, I usually go to bed at, like, 2 a.m. and then I wake up at, like, 9:30. That's, like... I don't... How much is that? That's enough, you know? It's like 7. Is that like 7 hours? I feel like that's enough. Yeah, like it's 7 hours. It should be fine, you know? It should be fine. Like, I feel like I functioned on less, and yet. Mom. Cha-cha-cha. I'm also gonna try to edit more videos tonight. Wow! I've edited a few. There's still so much to do. But it's okay. We're gonna get it all done on time. Totes and goats, absolutely. And totally and definitely gonna get it all done. All of it get done. Will. Yes. Sorry, I'm just setting up a raid. Got 2 more Yuis, you could have a foot of Yuis. Feet. Sleep is good for you and helps with life. Go to bed early enough times and it'll eventually add up enough to get your system feeling good. Oh, you're so right. I should do that. Okay, we're going to raid into Miss Pearby Wamu Stinkleton. Please tell her she's cute. I'm removing all the Yuis from the screen. Oh, hold on. I'm struggling. I want to keep this one though. Look at her. Oh, struggling once again. She's staring. She's looking. She's looking intently at you. I'm looking at you intently. She's watching, waiting, plotting, planning. Sleep with one eye open. I'm joking. Thank you guys for hanging out for me, and thank you for learning about baking. I'll try to make the next one longer. I had a lot of fun today, and I'm happy if I was able to teach you even one thing that you didn't know. And we'll learn more things together. I'll see you tomorrow on Serena's channel from Across Watch Along, and then I'll also see you on my channel afterwards for Creature Kitchen. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Mwah, 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 mwah.